Okay, so this is a question that came in from one of my subscribers if I knew anything about the Orion's belt and or the Orion nebulae. And so I thought it would be good to cover this. One of my subscribers who gets my videos, a number of people are saying that they're not getting my videos. So if you're not getting my videos, you have to come to my page. And I'm also not being ranked by YouTube as a reporter. So this is very different stuff, and the Power Control Force is very good at discerning who they want to be sharing information or giving time to. And so people like myself who share at a whole nother level aren't getting much play, simply because a lot of what I share is the truth, and they don't want you to start knowing beyond what the conspiracy theories are, those that follow the party line. Yes, so when you start talking about psychopaths, like I do, and start seeing the patterns in relationship to the system, which is utter nonsense, then you are moving beyond what the Power Control Force really wants most of humanity to know. And so what I share here is very, very different. So for those of you who can stick it out, and I encourage you to share these videos with your friends and family if you so choose to. Now the day of fiction is over, and so we know stuff like The Brave New World, Alex Huxley's book, and movies such as Clockwork Orange, and or a lot of us have read 1984, George Orwell's book, and we've seen such movies as Armageddon and the Titanic. All of these have patterns and also suggest what is going to be transpiring. Now this book was written a long time ago. Clockwork Orange was a movie done a long time ago, and George Orwell's 1984 was a book that was written a very long time ago. But a lot of these storylines or these fiction is actually playing out on the world stage now. And so the day of fiction is over, and the reality, or this fictional satire. I've seen a lot of fictional satire which is proliferating through the news media. We're seeing a lot of garbage, kind of like the Globe and Mail, or just really utter nonsense and insane stories that are coming out all over. And so really what this is all designed to do is to keep humanity from knowing the truth of who we are. It's all, humanity itself is conjured up to destroy who and what we are, which is wisdom, and to disconnect us. The human species is designed to disconnect us from our power, our true source of power, which is innately within each and every one of us. And so what I share with you is pretty out there. And so for those who have the eyes to see before us what is a deliberate and carefully orchestrated series of events initiated to the unfoldment of our planetary cleanse. Yes, we do not have to look far to see what is transpiring in places like Egypt and Syria right now. Syria is an awesome model for you to be looking at in terms of what's going to be happening in other countries. Watch Syria very closely. Watch what's happening in Egypt very closely. And I like Egypt specifically because when we talk about the Orion constellation, or the Orion Nebula, what we're really talking about is our origins. Orion, our origins. The initial ion that was developed, or atom that was developed by the Power Control Force, that conjured up this system, this whole system. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. And so what we're seeing in Egypt and places like Syria is unprecedented in our history. It's history in the making. All of this by design. Nothing is random. We're all aimed to deliberately manipulate who we are and to destroy our connection to our eternal divine wisdom state. Now, through this conjured up, inorganic, inauthentic, unconscious system, we are programmed. We're programmed to live a certain way, and it's all by design. So all outer conflict is precipitated by the power control force. All the conflicts that are going on in this world are simply orchestrated and designed and facilitated by the power control force. They're the ones creating all this turmoil. And what it's designed to do is to keep you off balance, to keep you in a state of constant fear so that you can not really come to know who and what you truly are. Because once you wake up out of this system, if more of us can wake up out of this system, understand and see it for the truth of what it is, then it will cease to exist. But as long as we keep engaging in the system, thinking it's real, and that everything that's happening to us is the truth of what's really going on here, beyond the fact that it's really just a story, a play that's playing out, like a movie. It's kind of like the biggest blockbuster movie. It's like coming out of a movie theater, like the Titanic, right? After you've seen the Titanic, blockbuster movie. Notice how this Titanic is also even this picture. The subliminal in this picture is a pyramid. Very similar. How they use the subliminal. And so even in that, the Titanic, which was a blockbuster, you come out of that movie and you're like, wow, that was a great movie. It's the same like the physical world. It's a movie. It's a movie. What we're experiencing right now is a movie. So as above, so below. Patterns and suggestions by the power control force. Patterns, they use patterns and suggestion. That the suggestion is now that what? The world is ending. That we are in a stage or phase of Armageddon. The Last Supper. The Last Supper. That's going to happen in the Ring of Fire. Right? So, this is all suggestion of a great flood, the great flood that's coming. It's all suggestion, because if there is going to be an end to this system, it's not really going to happen. There's always going to be the suggestion. Because if the system were to really end, then the power control force would cease to exist. This whole system would cease to exist. So they have to play on the pattern. They have to continuously find ways to keep you manipulated into this matrix, this dark, sinister matrix. So let's look at the Orion. So in the sky, we can see a mirroring through repeated patterns at different spots on our Earth, an angular positioning of the terrestrial Orion in relation to longitude correlation between the pyramids of Giza plateau, and the stars of Orion. You can definitely see that. And, for example, beginning in 1100 AD, on the Arizona desert, the Hopi constructed a similar pattern of villages that mirror all major stars in the constellation. So they created in South America or North America villages that mirror the major stars in the constellation. So if we look at North America, we can find the same patterns for a lot of the star systems in the different states. Okay? Arizona being one of them. Now, one of the things I want to talk to you about before I delve into a little bit more about the Orion constellation is Cairo. Cairo is the capital city of Egypt. Now, as above, again, so below. If we look at Mars, the official name of the city, Al-Horaya, is the official name of the city of Cairo. Though in local speech, it is typically called are simply the name of the country. Mizar, pronounced Mars, is a local dialect. The name Al-Karaha literally means to subdue, through it's often translated as the victorious. The origin of the name is said to come from the appearance of the planet Mars. So Cairo is associated, Cairo, the city of Egypt, is associated with the planet Mars. That's why we're seeing so much happening in Cairo right now. As above, so below. So the planet Mars, associated with destruction, okay, the planet Mars is associated with destruction, was called Al-Nam al-Har in Arabic, from which the name of the city was derived. However, the legacy of the name evolved into the title Qarat al-Ada, meaning subduer of the enemy. So what we're seeing with the destruction happening in Cairo, with the uprising, the Arab Spring, as above, so below. So the title, basically, of Cairo was given to the city as many enemies were destroyed by in attempts to invade Cairo or defeated elsewhere by troops sent from Cairo. So this is the historical perspective on Cairo and its meaning and its association with Mars, as above, so below. And so when we see a lot of news items coming out last month, we saw a number of items coming out with regards to Mars and its association, all the different things that are happening there. Really, it's about what's happening in Cairo. So let's look at the worship of gods. The worship of gods has a strong connotation with the connection to Orion. There are Orion correlations across the world, which is what I've been mentioning to you. If we look at Orion, this is on its side, but if we look at Orion from this perspective, Orion is a hunter, the mythological hunter from mythology, Greek mythology. And so we can see the pattern of this constellation in other parts of the world. Now Orion, O-R, equals I-O-N, Orion. If we take out O-R, it's ion. The three-letter ion at the end of the word Orion is an electrically charged atom. Okay? So the book of Genesis is another example for the Latin meaning origin, reference to the creation story. Yes, Orion is a reference to our origins. Orion is a reference to our origins, or the original atom. The original atom. Or Adam and Eve. The basic storyline expresses the central theme throughout God. God creates the world and appoints man as his regent. But man proves disobedient, and God destroys the world through what? The flood. Yes, the great flood. The Last Supper. The great flood, the Last Supper, that is to happen in the ring of fire. Yes. All suggestion and patterns, over and over and over again, repeated. Now, the obelisk at St. Peter's Square seems to designate the star that is at the center of Orion's belt. Yes. So if we look at, this is the Vatican, and as it was representing the Orion constellation, it represents the Orion constellation. So if you can see here at the top, well, it's kind of a hard picture, but on your right there you can see Orion, and then up above you can see Taurus, and then you can see the Pleiades. And this is all from the view of the Pope, who can see this from his terrace, from where he sleeps. And so the layout of these obelisks or monuments, as you can see these gold type monuments in front, and the one in the circular area here, very similar to the Washington Monument. Again, that's a repeat of what we're seeing here is a replica of the Orion belt, or the Orion star system. repeated in Rome. So Orion's belt, if we go look at Orion's belt again, which is right in the middle here, the belt, the three stars there. You probably know where the Orion belt is. The three major pyramids at Giza, Khufu, and Khafre, and Menkaura represent the three kings in the Bible story. Right? The Great Pyramids of Arizona on the other side of the globe, upon the high desert of American Southwest, three great mountains rising out of the San Francisco peaks eerily echo the Egyptian, again, triad. Humphrey Peaks dominates the arid landscape. The slightly lower Agassiz Peak, and about a mile and a half due south of Fremont Peak. Those are the correlations in Arizona. The same pyramid structure of the three Mizas can be seen in Arizona. So, in the Egyptian and the Hopi cultures, pyramids have an avian association. So, again, this is repeated as above, so below. We can see the correlation here. And the Bennu bird is another, also known as a phoenix, was sometimes depicted as a gray heron perched atop a pyramid or an obelisk. A pyramid or an obelisk. Here's the Bennu bird. Periodically regenerated from its ashes, the sacred fowl is a primary symbol of eternal life. The Bennu was even instrumental in the creation of the cosmos. Yes. And so, if we look at the San Francisco flag, that Bennu bird is symbolic in the San Francisco flag, which just, again, suggests what's going to happen in the Ring of Fire, which is the Last Supper, which I talk about in many of my videos. It's just, if you kind of think of it, it's like the Russian doll scenario. You know, it's just pattern, one pattern after another, just going down a series of patterns. And if we go back again to our Giza, the pyramid Giza, and we look at the constellations that are above the pyramid, what we get to understand here is that Egypt is considered the origins, our historical origins, from the perspective of this conjured up system of our historical system that we live in. And if we look at the meridian and the chakra system of Africa, Egypt is the third eye, the all-seeing eye. Egypt acts as the crown chakra. The crown chakra, Alexandria acts as the crown chakra, from which all information stems from. And so the suggestion is that Egypt, or Orion, as above so below, the Orion constellation, is our origins, from which we come from. It's all suggestion. None of it's true, but it's a part of the story in this last days Armageddon roll-up scenario. So the whole idea here is that the nature of your existence is that you are divine wisdom. Once you come to wake up to this utter nonsense, then you get to see this whole story and how it's playing out from a whole different perspective, from the perspective of patterns and the suggestion that this conjured up reality is real, and yet it's not. It's nothing but nonsense, utter nonsense. And so you are to become fearless. Fearless, yes. You're to become fearless and not react or retaliate to this system. Because a lot of what we're going to be experiencing, a lot of what people are going to be experiencing, they're going to think that this is all real. And yet, none of it's real. It's all been made up. All by design. To keep you in an utter state of the story, the fictional story. Again, the day of fiction is over, and so you must come to know the truth of who you are. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, pass these on to your friends. Well, and subscribe to the channel. Take care, and remember, stay in the heart. Bye.